When the river begins to recede, this fish climbs onto land and starts shouting. Many people are confused by this behavior, but there is a fascinating reason behind it. This fish is called the mudskipper, a remarkable species that can live both in water and on land. As the tide goes out, mudskippers leave the river to hunt insects, worms, and other small creatures. For most people, fish are inseparable from water. We imagine animals that breathe through gills and would quickly die if left on land. But the mudskipper completely challenges that assumption. It spends much of its life on muddy flats, walks using its front fins, and can even climb mangrove roots to escape danger. Its unusual lifestyle has fascinated scientists for decades. The mudskipper is considered one of the best examples of how animals can adapt to life between two very different worlds, water and land. Mudskippers are commonly found in mangrove forests, tidal marshes, and muddy coastal habitats throughout the tropics. These environments are constantly changing. Within a few hours, high tide can completely cover the landscape. A few hours later, the water retreats, leaving behind vast stretches of mud. For many animals, these dramatic changes create major challenges. But for mudskippers, they create opportunities. As the tide recedes, insects, worms, tiny shrimp, and countless other small organisms become trapped in the mud, making it the perfect time to hunt. As soon as the water level begins to fall, mudskippers emerge from their burrows or hiding places. They slowly move across the mud while scanning their surroundings with the large, bulging eyes on top of their heads. One of the mudskipper's most distinctive features is its eyes. Positioned on top of its head, they allow the fish to see in almost every direction without moving its body very much. This eye placement is especially useful on land. It can watch for birds of prey overhead while keeping an eye on threats in the water. Even when most of its body is buried in mud, its eyes remain above the surface, allowing it to stay alert. Even more impressive, mudskippers keep their eyes moist by pulling them back into their eye sockets. This movement helps prevent their eyes from drying out while they are out of the water. The question most people ask is, how can a fish survive on land? The answer lies in the way it breathes. Mudskippers still have gills, but they can also absorb oxygen through their skin and the moist lining of their mouths and throats. As long as their bodies stay wet, they can continue exchanging oxygen. That's why mudskippers constantly work to keep themselves moist. If the mud begins to dry out or the weather becomes too hot, they quickly return to the water or retreat into their burrows to avoid drying out. This remarkable ability sets them apart from most other fish, which rely almost entirely on water for breathing. The mudskipper's front fins have evolved into powerful, leg-like limbs. With strong muscles, they can push their bodies forward, hop across the mud, and move surprisingly well on land. Although their movements may look awkward, they are incredibly effective. Some species can even climb slippery mangrove roots and rocks. Being able to move on land gives mudskippers a huge advantage. They can chase prey, escape predators, and search for safer locations without returning to the water. Mudskippers are opportunistic feeders. Their diet mainly includes small insects, mudworms, tiny shrimp and crabs, insect larvae. When prey comes within reach, the mudskipper strikes with incredible speed, sucking it into its mouth before it has a chance to escape. The attack is surprisingly fast, especially since the fish often appears completely still just moments before. Mudskippers are also highly territorial. A male usually claims a patch of mud and aggressively defends it from intruders. When two males meet, they perform dramatic displays of dominance. They raise their dorsal fins, open their mouths wide, lift their bodies, and produce sounds to intimidate each other. If neither fish backs down, they may shove and wrestle across the mud. However, serious fights rarely last long because one usually retreats before either is seriously injured. Secret burrows beneath the mud. One of the mudskipper's most extraordinary behaviors is the way it reproduces. The male digs a deep burrow in the mud with several tunnels and a special chamber where the eggs are laid. The challenge is that these chambers are often filled with oxygen-poor water. To solve this problem, the male carries bubbles of air into the burrow using its mouth. These bubbles create an oxygen-rich air pocket, allowing the eggs to develop properly. This remarkable behavior demonstrates an extraordinary level of adaptation for a fish. Living in two different worlds also means facing more predators. In the water, mudskippers may be hunted by large fish and water snakes. On land, they must watch out for birds of prey, large crabs, and small mammals. For this reason, mudskippers usually stay close to their burrows. At the first sign of danger, they can leap into the mud and disappear underground within seconds. Mudskippers are more than just fascinating animals. They play an important role in mangrove ecosystems. As they dig burrows, they stir up the mud and improve airflow within the soil. This helps speed up the breakdown of organic matter and influences the condition of the surrounding sediment. They are also an important part of the food web, feeding on small organisms while serving as prey for larger animals. The mudskipper is a powerful reminder of how adaptable life on Earth can be. Millions of years of evolution have shaped this fish into an animal capable of thriving in two completely different environments. Some scientists even study mudskippers to better understand how ancient vertebrates may have first adapted from life in water to life on land. Although modern mudskippers are not the direct ancestors of land animals, their way of life offers valuable clues about the challenges the earliest land-dwelling vertebrates may have faced. So, the next time you see a mudskipper walking across the mud and making what sounds like a shout, remember that its behavior is far from random. It's searching for food, defending its territory, communicating with other mudskippers, and surviving in a constantly changing environment. From its bulging eyes and ability to breathe on land, to its leg-like fins and habit of carrying air bubbles into its burrow, the mudskipper is living proof that nature always finds a way to adapt. Among the mud, mangrove roots, and ever-changing tides, this remarkable little fish shows us that the boundary between water and land is far less defined than we once imagined. And perhaps that's why the mudskipper remains one of the most extraordinary animals ever to evolve along Earth's tropical coastlines,